forget to wave goodbye to all those lovely people in the love line. Goodbye. Okay. The little music for the drive, we're all set. You met me, but there's some very important people that make this tour possible. So starting off with my co-host, you might know him as the host of The Tonight Show. Maybe you know him from That's My Jam for SNL's 50th anniversary. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, hey there. You made it. Welcome to the Universal Studio Tour. I'm Jimmy Fallon. I'll be making sure that you get through this experience in one piece. You've got the very best guide.
Dimitri.
And the greatest driver.
Court.
You're the best. I love it. Even though
Court.
owes me $5.
What?
I know you guys are excited to get on the tour, but first, a few safety rules.
Alright, well Court, don't worry, I got you covered, because if we're talking about safety, I don't know how to drive this thing. But while we're on the topic of safety, let's take a look to the screens that say warning. I just want you folks to know, these screens will never ever be in 3D. I promise I will let you know the one time we wear these 3D glasses, but for now they are not currently needed. But if you have them on, I just want to say you look very stylish right now. You're very fashionable. Now, if you need any sort of guest assistance, have a medical emergency, or let's say you try and fix any sound or video issues, as well as dropping something off the side of the tram, just make sure you reach up and grab that red emergency cord that runs along the center of the ceiling of the tram, and I'll be back to assist you as soon as it is safe for me to do so. Otherwise, during the entire tour, please stay seated, keeping our hands, arms, feet, and legs inside of the vehicle at all times. And remember to use that red cord above your head if you need any sort of assistance. The studio is private property, so if you drop your phone or just can't wait to use the restroom, pull that cord and remain seated at all times. Please no smoking and or vaping of any kind during the studio tour, and be prepared. Today's tour features loud noises, fire effects, and any water effects, so you want to have those cameras out for some great photo opportunities, but you may get wet. There will also be many sudden tram movements, so please keep a close hold on your personal belongings, wallets, watches, phones, keys, anything and everything that you brought with you here on the tour today. And finally, for your safety and those around you, please no selfie sticks or flash photography while on board the tram. With all of this out of the way, we are leaving the theme park behind. We're heading down to the movie studio, so let's take a look back into history. Universal Studios Hollywood opened its gates on March 15th, 1915, over 110 years ago at this point. That's when our founder, Carl Laemmle, wanted to not only build the strangest little city in the entire world, but the only one entirely dedicated to movie-making magic. And that's exactly what we've become over the years. We've grown into a 400-acre studio that is constantly filming things around the clock. We've been doing so now for over a century at this point. Over to your left-hand side, you can see one of our biggest and oldest sound stages, number 12. Now, soundstage number 12 is one of our 36 sound stages here on the lot, and sound stages are where the majority of the filming happens. So to give you an idea of what it is that we do and build and film here at Universal, let's take a look inside Soundstage 12 over the decades. So all of the environments that you just saw on screen, everything from Dracula's castle to Frankenstein's laboratory, the Whoville village from How the Grinch Stole Christmas, it all starts from the ground up inside these large, empty, warehouse-like spaces that we call sound stages. And in order to transform these sound stages into the environments that you know and love, it takes an awful lot of hard work, customization, dedication, and craftsmanship, which is why you see all these vehicles to your left-hand side. Different trucks, trailers, scissor lifts, golf carts, bicycles, all different vehicles that our production members, especially the crew, can use to get around the Universal Studios lot. Now, all these trucks that we're currently seeing around stages 8, 7, and coming up around the corner here, sound stage number 14, this is all part of the production of Bel Air, which is the dramatic reproduction of the beloved 90s sitcom, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and that stars Jabari Banks and Ali Sholatin. With all these trailers that we're seeing here to our left-hand side, whenever you see them all clustered up like this is called a base camp or a base of operations. This is where the cast for Bel Air gets their hair, makeup, and wardrobe done, and this is where the crew hangs out when they're not needed on set. And generally, you want a place to hang out when you're not needed on set because the average workday is between 12 and 18 hours long, which is quite a long day. Alongside titles like Bel Air Season 4, we've been working on Season 4 of HBO's Hack, starring Emmy Award winner Gene Smart alongside stand-up comedian Hannah Einbinder. You may have heard a little something about Apple TV series Loot, starring Maya Rudolph, filming out of Soundstage number 16, to your right-hand side. And we wrapped up Season 2 of the TED TV series. That's a prequel to the TED movies from executive producer Seth MacFarlane. All these shows I just mentioned, all of them are either partially available on their respective streaming services or even fully available, but we've got some new titles here on the lot that we're very excited to tell you about. Out of Soundstage number 18 coming up here to the right-hand side, if you're a fan of The Office, get so excited because The Paper releases on September 4th. This is a new show from the team behind The Office, following the same documentary crew that followed around the Dunder Mifflin Paper employee, all those folks from the Dunder Mifflin Paper Company. And from there, they have moved on to a new job at a small Midwestern newspaper called the Toledo Truth Teller. And if you're a fan of Oscar Martinez from The Office, played by Oscar Nunez, he's back, he's playing the same character, and it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And out of Soundstage number 19 here, we don't have a release date quite yet, but we have a show starring Jennifer Garner called 5 Star Weekend, based on a novel of the same title. But no matter who these shows come to us from, no matter who makes them, our goal, no matter who we're working with, is to bring your favorite stories to life as part of a larger filmmaking family. And some of these companies actually work alongside us here at Universal in the buildings to your left-hand side known as the Bungalows. Here to tell you about the Bungalows is the cast of How to Train Your Dragon, now in theaters.
Hey there, Studio Tour. I'm Jared Butler.
I'm Mason Thames.
And I'm Nico Parker.
You know, these bungalows to your left are actually production offices.
Home to some of Hollywood's biggest filmmakers, including Mark Platt, one of the producers of our new live-action movie, How to Train Your Dragon.
Everyone wave. You might be there right now.
And if you haven't already, be sure to meet the iconic and beloved Toothless over in the plaza.
And see our movie early in theaters now.
But in the meantime, here's a sneak peek.
Everything we know about dragons is wrong.
Alright, bud, you ready? Watch out!
How to Train Your Dragon, ready features in theaters now.
Alongside titles like How to Train Your Dragon, Plot Productions has brought us Wicked, which they just won two Oscars for. Personally, I can't wait to see what they do with Wicked for Good, the final part of that musical, releasing later this year. One thing to keep in mind, folks, is that there's a lot of planning that goes on before filming can begin. A lot of budgeting, casting, costuming, scripting before our casting crew can report to one of our front lot sound stages or our back lot sets. And one of the shows that's filming heavily on both of those locations here in our sound stages and on our back lot is St. Dennis Medical, which films to your left out of sound stages 25 and 26. Let's get a little sneak peek as we head to the Metro sites.
Oh, I love a good buzzword with a Coachella type vibe.
St. Dennis Regional Medical. St. Dennis Regional Medical.
That woman is a lot.
She's just quirky. St. Dennis Regional Medical.
The rhythm is gonna get you, and it got me.
St. Dennis Medical, all episodes streaming now. Watch NBC on Peacock.
Welcome to the Metropolitan Sets, where shows like St. Dennis Medical film here at the hospital front, and across the way we have the Brownstone Street Apartments. Fake apartment buildings that have played home to characters like Bruce Almighty, played by Jim Carrey, as well as Mindy in The Mindy Project, played by Mindy Kaling. What it really comes down to, folks, is you gotta remember these 4 acres of city that you see to your right-hand side are not real. This is fake buildings. These are what we call shell sets and facades here in the industry, and they don't really have a lot going on the inside. Take a look to your screens to see what I mean. But because nobody lives and or works in these buildings, it allows us to transport you around the world without ever leaving the Universal Studios lot. And it also allows us to transport you through time, especially when it comes to Courthouse Square. Welcome to Hill Valley, California from Back to the Future Parts 1 and 2. Now here's the thing, I know you're a clever bunch and you probably figured out the building to your left-hand side looks a little bit different than the building that you see on screen. That's also for good reason. Sometimes our fake buildings here become so recognizable in the backlot, they become celebrities, too famous for their own good. So they have to get a little bit of a makeover, a new face, a new facade, so they don't stick out like a sore thumb in the background of your new favorite TV show or movie. Now, well, right now, I cannot physically transport you back to the 1950s or the 1980s. You can, however, check out a more recent version of our courthouse square as a 1990s version of Boston in the Ted prequel series, where this area plays a Bostonian high school. From our small town center to our big city streets, we head around the corner to New York Street, which you've seen as, of course, Boston in the Ted TV series, Chicago in the Blues Brothers, London in the Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw, and so many more. What it really comes down to in this area is the way in which we decorate our sets. Whether it's the right time period, whether it's adding in just the different elements that bring a city to life, like buses, bench stops, newspaper stands, and more. It all comes down to that set decoration or dressing. To show you what I mean, though, a little help from someone who's no stranger to a big city, my co-host, Jimmy.
Hey everyone, welcome to New York. I got my start right here in New York on Saturday Night Live. This is actually my old neighborhood. Once got mugged over there. An old woman, tough lady. This is my favorite hot dog guy. Hey buddy, how's it going? Remember me? No. Just like old times. Gotta love New York City. Hey, I'm walking here. Hey, it's cool, guys. I was just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, it was shot right here on the Universal Metro sets. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Even if you make it here on the Universal lot.
Absolutely right, folks. And as we leave the not-so-concrete jungle behind, we're heading over to the real jungle of Skull Island from director Peter Jackson's 2005 King Kong. So please, take this moment to secure your personal belongings, wallets, watches, phones, keys. Hold on tight and remain seated. No flash photography as we return.
It's the original King Kong that made me I saw that movie on TV when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I wanted to become a filmmaker. I like films that just take you away from your real life and sweep you up in adventure. Kong literally does that. I mean, you're on board the ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from, prehistoric times. So I was thrilled when Universal invited me to this. It's great to be here along for the ride. Now, we have created this 3D immersive experience, so you're going to have your glasses ready. Don't put them on yet, but just have them in your hand because we're about to return to Skull Island.
Once again, folks, before we return to Skull Island, please secure all personal belongings. Wallets, watches, phones, keys, souvenirs purchased in the theme park today. Remember, no standing, no flash photography. And hold on real tight because adventure awaits us on Skull Island. Ladies and gentlemen, folks, friends, and moviegoers of all ages, that was King Kong 360 3D. Now you can safely store away those 3D glasses for the rest of the tour, we will not need them. But I do want to check back in with my audience. What do we think about that bananas experience back there? Yeah, it was pretty woo, wasn't it? You might even recognize the works of Weta Effects. They are the team behind some of your favorite digital effects in the movies: The War of the Planet of the Apes, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Avatar 1, and now Avatar 2, The Way of Water, which they won their 7th Academy Award for, by the way. They've also designed some of the most advanced digital filmmaking technology today, and we saw it presented on some of the biggest IMAX screens ever made, 180 feet long, 40 feet tall. So let's see how they do it with Weta Effects on King Kong 360 3D.
With a project like the studio tour, the audience is in the middle of the environment. They're looking in all directions, there's creatures coming at them, they're seeing Kong from this side and T-Rexes from the other side.
Working on a movie, we always know where the people are looking. They're looking straight ahead, they're looking at the shot that we're working on.
Here you have to take into account that people are looking in all directions.
Also, one of the things about this ride, unlike the movies that we're used to working on, there's no cuts, because it's one giant shot. This tram that's driving along through Skull Island is where the camera's from. This ring represents where the screen is 10 meters away.
We're really creating about 50 minutes of a feature film. That amount of visual information, that number of pixels, and presenting them to the audience, it's a hell of a ride.
So, let's talk monster movies, because our history with monster movies doesn't just go back to the early 2000s with movies like King Kong. It extends back to the very early days of our studio itself. So one of the ways in which we pay homage to our monsters is directly to the right-hand side here. The Universal Monster mural painted by world-renowned graffiti artist Tristan Eden in the pouring rain of February 2019. Now, the mural itself immortalizes such creatures as Lon Chaney Jr.'s The Wolfman, Boris Karloff's Frankenstein, and Elsa Lanchester's The Bride of Frankenstein. Just beyond, we have our Lion Estate gates celebrating 40 years of Back to the Future, and behind those is a studio audience seating area. Because if you take a look over to your left-hand side, you'll see all the production equipment that is currently being used for season 28 of NBC's The Voice, which is once again featuring voice coach Reba McEntire. She's a very busy lady, if you haven't already heard. Reba McEntire is filming 2 shows at once here at Universal, running from soundstage to soundstage, but not too far, don't worry, because her soundstage 33 show, Happy's Place, films just next door to The Voice. That also films in front of a live studio audience, and it's a very fun multicam sitcom. If you enjoy multicam sitcoms, I highly recommend that one. A little bit further, folks, we're passing by the Hollywood Ocean, and this brings us to the approximate halfway point of our tour. So just a reminder for everybody to please stay seated, keep all hands, arms, feet, and legs inside of the vehicle at all times, and remember to use that red cord above your head if you need any sort of assistance. For now, we're heading over to a different type of creature feature. We're celebrating 50 years of Steven Spielberg's Jaws, and of course the shark's temperaments. It really hasn't gotten better in the last 50 years, so we better check in with Police Chief Brody before we hit the open waters.
Hi folks, Chief Brody here. You may have heard we have a shark problem, so I'm afraid the beaches are closed. Yeah, you got a real bad fish out there, Chief. I'm here to offer my services. Thanks, Mr. Quint, but we do already have a plan. You can hire me and be open this summer, or you can play it cheap. Well, we do have Officer George patrolling the waters already. Georgie? Diving? Sounds like amateur hour to me. Good luck with that one, Chief.
Oh, Amity Island. You know, they're known for a few things here at Amity: the sun and the sand, and of course the sea life. That shark problem's pretty bad. The good news is the sharks like to go after bite-sized prey, so we're pretty safe here in our large metal tram. However, I cannot say the same for our diver George. It's such a shame too. He was so excited when we offered him this once-in-a-lifetime experience. Isn't that right, George? I may have been oh so wrong. But you know what? In our defense, we never did define what once in a lifetime meant. He didn't stick around for the answer. And as long as no one is standing, we should be totally fine. Because it's something weird about the sharks here at Amity. They don't smell you for standing up. But we got bigger fish to fry, folks. I mean that quite literally, because something has a hold of this dock. Well, okay, I don't see any more movements. Oh! Congratulations on surviving Baruch the Shark, everybody. That's the hardest working shark in all of Hollywood. But you probably figured this one out too. This is not the real Amity Island. That's on the east coast of the United States near Martha's Vineyard. But this is, however, the real Cabot Cove for Murder, She Wrote, starring Angela Lansbury, where she played Jessica Fletcher, an Agatha Christie-style murder mystery writer. You've also seen this set featured in the background of TV shows like Columbo, the Key and Peele sketch show, and even the movie Mallrats, directed by Kevin Smith. You might know from the Clerks movies. But we're now traveling to the oldest practical effect here on the studio tour, dating all the way back to 1968, the first decade that the modern studio tour came about. Welcome to Old Mexico, the home of the simulated rainstorm, because as you and I both know, folks, it doesn't really rain here in sunny Southern California. Even when it pours, it's not exactly what we call reliable now, is it? So why on earth would you wait around for the perfect storm to happen to pass you by when you could take matters into your own hands? In other words, what I'm trying to say, folks, is we here in Hollywood can, in fact, control the weather. And it's a lot easier than it sounds. So here's how we do it. Most importantly, aside from the ambiance, you need a little bit of water to make this realistic, right? You need a little bit of rain. This. Perfect. What that guy said. Folks, back towards Cars 3, you'll notice the occasional flash of lightning from a strobe light. Once that lightning flashes, it's followed up by a boom or a rumble of thunder from speakers. Kind of like that. Finally, we have sprinklers on the rooftops of our buildings and a couple of poles, which gives us the rain droplets. But that's not all the water that we have for you folks, not even close. At the top of this hill to the left-hand side, there's a really big tank of water. It holds thousands upon thousands of gallons that are all released with the press of a button. Yeah, what that guy said. Congrats on surviving the flash flood, everybody. Please take your seats. Remain seated at all times. For your safety and those around you, please do not stand. But you might have remembered this effect for something more recent in the 1960s. Lady Gaga's music video Judas, or the movie Big Fat Liars, starring Paul Giamatti, Frank Muniz, and Amanda Bynes. We'll let those flash flood waters carry us down to the oldest sets here on the Universal Studios lot. Welcome to 6 Points, the home of the silent western. These sets date all the way back to the 19-teens and early 1920s, where many cowboys are rosing on down these streets that earn their spurs. Even at the Opera House to your left-hand side, modern cowboys like Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt hung out for Quentin Tarantino's night film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And since I couldn't find Leo or Brad, I found us a real rough and tumble individual to guide us through town. Take it away, Jimmy.
This town ain't big enough for the both of us, Jimmy Fallon.
Well, I ain't going anywhere, Jimmy Fallon.
Now look here. Nice folks in this tram don't want no trouble. They just want to check out 6 Points, one of the oldest sets on the Universal lot.
I hear this is where John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart shot a few of their westerns.
That's right. That's where I aim to shoot here.
Looks like we got ourselves a Mexican standoff. Lucky shot.
Now what say you mount up and get out of town while the getting's good?
All right. Well, I'll see you again, Fallon.
Oh, you can count on it, Fallon. And get.
This is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
We just have to talk it out, that's all.
As we mosey on out of town ourselves, You might remember the names of some other cowfolk as well, but what I want to point out is Jessica Simpson in her music video, These Boots Were Made for Walking. That's right, I'm going right here at 6 minutes. We are once again heading towards the Hollywood Ocean over here to the left-hand side. I know it's the size of a lake, but the Hollywood Ocean has played many different bodies of water over the years. You might have seen it as the Red Sea in Paramount Pictures' 10 Commandments, starring actor Charlton Heston, or maybe you saw it in Creature from the Black Lagoon, starring Rico Browning as the Gill Man. Here's the thing, even with 70 years legacy under his belt, the Creature, or the Gill Man, is still one of our youngest monsters. So we're heading back to the birthplace of Monster Movie, where we've been thrilling audiences for over a century at this point. With Bela Lugosi's Dracula, Lon Chaney's Phantom of the Opera, and The Hunchback of Notre Dame, they all called this next set visit, known as Little Europe, home. But more recently than seeing Little Europe in black and white, you may have seen it in full Technicolor in a TV show starring Kristen Bell and Ted Danson called The Good Place. Let's see if that doesn't reset your memories or ring a bell.
You, Eleanor Shellstrom, are dead.
Cool.
This location, the afterlife, come on. I've never ever seen this. You're in a good place.
I'm not supposed to be here. I can't risk going to the bad place.
Well, maybe it's not all that bad.
How can I help you?
What is the bad place like?
Well, it doesn't sound awesome.
Here in the daylight, Little Europe is colorful and charming and downright delightful with all the pastels and the fake flowers. There's even a couple of fountains sprinkled around that we can fill up with different substances. You might have seen The Good Place where we filled one of these fountains up with clam chowder. Although that was added in post-production using CGI or computer-generated imagery. Otherwise, I think you'd still be able to smell it. But you've also seen this area in a couple different Disney productions as well. Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. This is the area where we first meet our main character, Jack Sparrow, as he's escaping from a band of redcoats as they're chasing him down streets, and then he ducks himself inside of the blacksmith shop that Will Turner, played by Orlando Bloom, is working in. But as soon as Jack Sparrow, played by Johnny Depp, ducks inside of that blacksmith shop, he is no longer here on the Universal Studios backlot. That blacksmith shop was custom built inside one of the sound stages over in Anaheim, because it's a Disney production. You might have also seen Princess Diaries 2 Royal Engagement, where this area played the fictional country of Genovia, and even Roger and Hammerstein's made-for-TV musical Cinderella used these streets for their made-for-TV musical. But if you take away all the bright, charming colors, if you add in a couple of angry villagers with pitchforks and torches, you get them all riled up, you have yourself a recipe for a classic monster movie. So let's take a look back in time, almost 100 years ago, almost a century at this point, to Boris Karloff's Frankenstein.
What is it now? The monster. He's in the woods. Get out the bloodhounds. Raise all the men you can, lock the women indoors, and wait for me. Are you ready? Take your torches and go!
When we think of Universal, we think of monsters.
Dracula, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein,
The Mummy,
The Hunchback of Notre Dame, The Invisible Man, Phantom of the Opera. Classic films are just brilliantly made. That Frankenstein image, flathead, it's one of the great icons of the world.
That to me was like the essence of the Universal horror film.
I was just mesmerized by this movie. Boris Karloff, Lon Chaney.
I remember the original Universal Studios Mummy movie really scaring me.
It's still ringing in our memories now, and we love them.
We do in fact love our monsters, and not just the black and white monsters, all of the monsters from throughout the decades. As I mentioned earlier, we are celebrating 50 years of Steven Spielberg's Jaws, and a little something special that we have for you during Mega Movie Summer is a throwback to the past. The original trailer that audiences viewed for Jaws back in 1975.
There is a creature alive today who has survived millions of years of evolution without change, without passion, and without logic. It lives to kill.
A mindless eating machine. It will attack and devour anything. It is as if God created the devil and gave him jaws. From the best-selling novel, Jaws. Rated PG. Maybe too intense for younger children.
Also.
My entire career began with my relationship with Universal Studios just as a high school kid on a tour bus. Remember, in those days, there weren't trams, there were buses called the Gray Line Tour Bus. And I was so excited and thrilled to be on the lot. This was my first time ever on a movie studio lot. And during a bathroom break, I hid in the bathroom, and when everybody left to get back on the bus, I waited another 15 minutes until I'm sure the bus left, and then I had the entire lot to myself that day. And in those days, movie lots were so crowded because all movies were made on film lots. Today they're made all over the world, on locations, but most of it was focused in those days, in the 60s, on the film lots. So nobody noticed me when I was going around from soundstage to soundstage, and I really felt, in my own young way, I owned the lot and had the most amazing day of my life.
Well, with those words from Steven Spielberg, folks, we are about to shake things up a little bit because we're heading inside of a real-life Hollywood soundstage. It's a beautiful Sunday here on the lot. There's not too much production, so we do have access to things that we might normally not. So, soundstage number 50, you do not need your 3D glasses for this next one. In fact, I recommend taking off your sunglasses once we're inside because they will make things a little bit harder to see. But please secure those personal belongings, remain seated at all times, and no flash photography. They don't like when we take flash photography of the active sets here on the lot. They're a little bit touchy about it. Over to your left-hand side, you can see we got a bunch of different stations set up. Right to film, here to the left, we've got cinematographers' chairs, producers' chairs. We have different carts with tape and other markers, as well as cords, all the materials that we need to make sure that everybody knows what we're doing. We've also got hair and makeup and wardrobe represented here, and of course our director's chair, ready for when our director comes back and calls action, and then... Hello? Okay, folks, hold on to your things. We're getting seated. Congratulations on surviving. The original Earthquake Big One was built back in 1988. Ran for 35 years until 2023, where it was revamped, reloaded, and completely remixed for our 60th anniversary just last year. But hey, speaking of big anniversaries, we're heading back up against towards Amity Island. So I thought we'd take one more look behind the scenes with director Steven Spielberg and get a little history of the Jaws attraction itself.
The Jaws ride was almost the inevitable result of the size of the box office when Jaws first opened in June of 1975. And that was really the first time I ever got involved in the creation of a ride. It was a great honor to be invited into a creative circle of tremendous designers at Universal that were trying to figure out how to replicate what the movie had done to audiences in a real way by building a physical shark that would come out of the water and terrify tourists as they were sitting in the tram. And the most amazing thing about the Jaws ride is it is exactly as it was from the time it was first placed on the Universal lot. There have been tweaks, of course, over the years, but it is essentially what the designers and myself all envisioned and created. I'm done bashing the shark. Thank you, Jaws, for everything you've done for me. But I will say, consistently, the shark did work much better on the tour than it did in the Atlantic Ocean in 1974.
Away from our seaside town of Amity Island, we are approaching our suburban neighborhood. Over to your both sides, really, because this is a fully immersive neighborhood. I'd like to welcome you to Colonial Street. Now, Colonial Street has been known by many different names throughout the years. It's played the background to many different characters throughout the years, and that's because all of these houses just kind of look like any neighborhood in the middle of America. Now, you probably know this street best by one specific name, and that is Wisteria Lane from ABC's Desperate Housewives. Now, for that TV show, Wisterias, if you didn't know this, they do not naturally grow on the West Coast, so our production team had to come in and hand attach to trees, to bushes, creeping up the sides of houses. They had to hand attach thousands of fake wisteria flowers for the duration of that production. And that just goes to show the level of control that we have over this fake neighborhood. Maybe you are a fan of The Voice. This is where our semi-finalists come to talk with their families before the end of each season's competition. It looks like they're walking around any neighborhood, but again, it's just Colonial Street. Not to mention music videos. For any of my fans of Shrek out there, this is where All Star by Smash Mouth originally filmed. And of course, for any of my fans of Nelly, the music video Dilemma also filmed right here on this street. Now, I want to give a shout out to some newer shows as well as we pass through the area. Just next to this gray house that you can see all the way through, the yellow house with the green door, that was Davy's house in Never Have I Ever from Mindy Kaling and Lang Fisher. And over to your left-hand side, this white house with the blue door, that is our main character John Bennett's house in both seasons 1 and 2 of the TED TV series. Let's take a look.
Festivities begin. How many we got? Well, let's see. We got 20 cartons.
Fantastic.
Do you think we're getting too old for this?
Oh, come on, Johnny, we're doing a public service here. If a kid leaves the house in a less than stellar Halloween costume, he's got to get the bad news before he makes a fool of himself all over town. Where's Samaritans?
As we leave behind Colonial Street, this brings us to the final act of the studio tour. So before we head back to the theme park, just a reminder for everybody to please stay seated, keep all hands, arms, feet, and legs inside of the vehicle at all times. And remember to use that red emergency cord above your head if you need any sort of assistance. But we will be returning to the theme park shortly. For now, our journey back to the theme park is going to be taking us past some really, really cool picture cars that we have here on the lot for you. And as a brief definition, a picture car is any sort of vehicle that appears on screen for any length of time during any production. So whether it be plane, train, boat, automobiles of all shapes and sizes fall within this category. And some of the really cool selections that we've got gathered today, folks, here to the left-hand side, we have the original studio tour Glamour Train. This is what audiences wrote in the 1960s until the 1980s. And yes, you did have to face your family in that back row of the tram for the first couple decades of operation. We've also got some great selections from Jurassic Park and World Trilogies. The Flintstones vehicles are represented here, completely foot-powered, eco-friendly, and we've got some of the Fast and the Furious saga represented here as well. And even a visitor to our lot, the yellow and black Camaro that played Bumblebee, Paramount Pictures Transformers. But as soon as you finish checking out those picture cards, folks, finish snapping those photos, because it's time for us to check into our stay at the Bates Motel. Welcome to the sets of Alfred Hitchcock's 1960 picture Psycho, starring Anthony Perkins and Janet Leigh. And it looks like we might see the man, the myth, the mama's boy himself. I hope you're ready for your close-up, because we're about to get very close up and personal. Okay, well, we can only hope. We can only hope that he's feeling friendly today, folks. What say you, Norman? Oh no, okay. All right, Norman, that was not the answer we were looking for. Why do you put caution tape on your house, man? What are you hiding in there? Ugh. Oh man, that was real scary. What a bad man and a sad man. But that brings us to the final set visit of the day, folks. Welcome to The War of the Worlds, directed in 2005 by Steven Spielberg and designed by production designer Rick Carter. What you see around you is a real 747 airplane that was dismantled and transported all the way here from the Mojave Desert. Here to take you behind the scenes, though, are the men themselves, with production designer Rick Carter and director Steven Spielberg.
The airplane crash site set is a perfect example of a set that is all designed around the vision of Steven.
You sit down and talk about the War of the Worlds. I thought, what if the 747 goes down right in a big neighborhood? Because it's just something you don't see.
You're doing good. You're doing good. Keep listening to me. Listen to me. Listen, I want you to close your eyes, okay? Now close. Bobby, get in. Get in.
Folks, this just in. Court and I, your driver, just found out that we have one more set to visit today. They just opened it up this week once again. We are heading over to Jupiter's Claim from Jordan Peele's 2022 sci-fi thriller Nope, starring Danny Kaluuya, Kiki Palmer, Stephen Yeun, and Brendan Pereira. These sets were designed by Ruth DeYoung, and without any further ado, I'd like to welcome you to Jupiter's Claim, director Jordan Peele, to guide us through town.
Movie magic only happens when a team of collaborators, often in the hundreds, work together to take an impossible notion and bring it to life. This is Jupiter's Claim, a nostalgic, small-time Southern California amusement park owned by former child star Ricky G. Over there, look into the winking room and have your picture taken just like the kids in that old 90s movie Kid Share. That's what this whole place is loosely based on. Remember that one? No? What? A little further down, you can see the brand new Star Lasso experience. Built to showcase an unbelievable new live show. So live. Anyway, welcome to the world
of no.
Not 100% was making that sound here in Jupiter's Claim, but I don't think we should stick around and find out. So we're gonna head back to the theme park. But if you have not seen Nope, it is a fantastic film. I highly recommend it, especially if you enjoy suspense, like in Steven Spielberg's Jaws. But here to give you a little sneak peek, she's starring in The Burbs, which films over on Colonial Street. She also plays Enola Haywood in Nope. This is Kiki Palmer.
What's up, Studio Tour? I'm
Keke Palmer from Jordan Peele's film? Nope. What's a bad miracle? Well, you'll have to see our movie to answer that one. Until then, I hope you enjoy your visit to Jupiter's Clay.
Did you see a UFO in that cloud?
Yeah.
I ain't never seen nothing like this.
Are you ready? Run!
Oh, yeah.
Hell no.
Well, folks, with that being said and done, we've done what there is to do and see, so it's time for us to head back home to the theme park and wrap things up for today. Here at Universal, we have been making movies and movie-making magic for well over 100 years now. We make you laugh, cry, and sit on the edge of your seat and tremble with anticipation. But it's not a solo adventure, it never has been, it never will be. In fact, it's all part of the larger filmmaking effort thanks to the people who make it possible. Shout out to the cast and crew, the drivers and guides, and of course, all of you. Because without you folks, I don't know who we'd make our movies for. I don't know who we'd tell our stories to. So I just want to say thank you to everybody here today. It's been such a blast being your tour guide. Hey, you're one of our annual pass members. It's great to see you again, annual pass members. If you're not yet a pass member, you can always become one by visiting an upgrade box office or kiosk out in the park or on Citywide. And if you're trying to locate one of those, check out our map of the park on the app of the park, Universal Studios Hollywood. And of course, if you liked any of the titles, you can find them all and where to purchase them at uphe.com. Well, folks, we're almost back to the theme park, so take one look to your right-hand side for a view of the larger filmmaking family here in SoCal. You can see Warner Brothers Pictures, Walt Disney Animation behind them to the left, and behind them to the right is that cheese grater-looking building, which is the ABC Studios Tower. But aside from them, folks, again, I just want to say thank you to everybody here today. It has been such a pleasure being your tour guide. And it is Make a Movie Summer here at the theme park, so we're open till 9 p.m. And if you're looking for a place to cool down, check out the Mosasaurus Splash at Jurassic World or the Splash Pad over at the Super Silly Fun World water play area. Okay. Before we go our separate ways, though, there is one more person that's got to say goodbye.
Well, I can't believe it. We've made it to the end of our tour, you guys. How about
Court
and
Dimitri?
Weren't they the best?
Hey, before we go, I'd like to sing you a little song I made up. I was just 5 years old. It's called Tramtastic. We had a real good time together, but now the ride is done. We saw some crazy cool stuff, and we had a lot of fun. This tram has made its final stop, but don't be sad and blue, 'cause there's still one more thing that I'd like to say to you.
Say it, Jimmy. Say it.
Have a tramtastic day. Have a tramtastic night. Watch your step.